Welcome back. President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced a range of measures to contain the country's ongoing blackouts. These include the appointment of a Minister for Electricity, as well as announcing a national state of disaster. How will this work? We're joined by energy expert Sampson Mamphweli. Thank you so much, Mr. Mamphweli, for your time this evening here on South Africa Tonight. So there's been much criticism in the past couple of days since the State of the Nation address on specifically two decisions on the part of the president. The first of those to appoint a Minister of Electricity in the presidency, and confusion abounds around the duplication of roles between this new position and the Minister of Public Enterprises. What's your take on that situation?
Good evening to you and the viewers at home. I welcome the announcement by the president to establish the Minister of Electricity in the presidency. My reading of it is that the president is looking for what he termed a one-stop shop when it comes to running the energy crisis committees and running the various teams that are working around this crisis. So what is happening at the moment is that we've got two departments, the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy and the Department of Public Enterprises that are basically at the forefront of this particular crisis. And that is not helping at some point. You will recall that the ANC delegates at some point went to an extent of proposing that maybe ESCOM should be moved to the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy for the sake of alignment, because that is where the planning happens and then the implementation takes place at ESCOM with oversight from the Department of Public Enterprises. So with the new announcements, I think it borders on that. In the sense that it is now, the president is now centralizing this power within the presidency so that he can on a daily or weekly basis be in touch with this minister within the presidency who can run these crisis committees and everything, and ESCOM, and work with ESCOM board and everybody else that is involved in this, in trying to deal with this crisis. So for me, it's not a duplication of anything. It's a welcome kind of an announcement. What needs to happen, in my view, that particular minister needs to work closely with all stakeholders, from the unions, the ESCOM board, and also still with the two sector departments that are still involved, because the president went on to also talk about the fact that some of the things that the Department of Public Enterprises was doing, they will still continue. And I think some of the things that the Department of Energy was doing, they will still continue. And this particular ministry will be more focused on how to deal with the electricity crisis. So it's basically isolating the problem and zooming into that problem with all the resources at play.
With two ministers already overseeing these issues that should fall within the ambit of their departments, I know you've already said that you don't see it as duplication, but do you think there's a problem with the ministers or the departments in place not doing their jobs that necessitates the creation of this new position?
I don't think so. If you look at the DMRE minister, Gwede, he's been implementing the integrated resource plan. So if we step back a little bit to July last year when the president announced his energy plan, you will recall that there were certain things that he announced, and then some of them kicked in immediately, and some of them fall within the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. And the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy has been busy running initiatives. For instance, bringing forward some of the procurement processes for new generation capacity within the provisions of the IR. He's been doing that. On the other hand, if you look at the work that the Minister Gordhan has been doing, and also the work that was being done by NICOM, the Energy Crisis Committee, there's quite a lot of background work that has happened so far. There is a lot of work in terms of establishing the root cause analysis in the various power stations, establishing what exactly is the problem and how that problem can be solved. The new board is in place. They've started working on their own plan, working with Minister Pravin Gordhan as well. So there's quite a lot of work that is being done. What needs to happen, which I think is what the president is trying to do with the declaration also of the state of disaster, is to fast track what is happening now. NICOM has not failed. The Minister of Public Enterprises has not failed. The Minister of Mineral Resources has not failed. Their initiatives are kicking in, and within the next 12 to 18 months, we'll start to see some of the fruits of the initiatives. What? Because the problem has kind of escalated a little bit, is trying to up the game in terms of fast-tracking some of the things that should be done, hence the declaration of the state of disaster. With that declaration of the state of disaster comes a number of additional measures that the president has put in place. And one of such additional measures was to come up with this Minister of Electricity. And it's not the first time that on the other SOEs, for instance. So this new minister also comes in and pushing Minister Gordhan on in that aspect.
You make a fair point. I apologize for interrupting you. I wanted to ask you whether you think we have the right person, the right kind of leadership talent, the person with the right kind of knowledge, skills, electricity, technical, advanced know-how to fill this role with the kind of competency required, but also with the strength of leadership to overcome the many challenges that we've seen, specifically in terms of what we're likely to see around the state of disaster, because that's going to be part of their purview, and overcoming the hurdles of corruption and siphoning off of the funds that have now been fast-tracked to deal specifically with this problem. That person in that key position is going to have to be incredibly strong.
Yes, so there are a number of people, quite a lot of people within South Africa. South Africa has got a lot of skills, even within government. I mean, the president can look around the various SOEs, can look for skills within there. He can also look out even outside of the ANC, because he's allowed to appoint at least, I think it's about 4 people out of his prerogative. So we don't, in terms of leadership, in terms of technical know-how in that particular area. What becomes more important for me is the support for that particular individual. That particular individual needs support from the Minister of Energy, from public enterprises, from civil society, from South Africa in general, from unions, and also from government in terms of resources. I've worked in some of these work streams that have been established as part of NICOM, and I know.
Unfortunately, it looks like we have a very bad signal that could be partly due to the bad weather or partly due to the blackouts that we continue experiencing. But thank you very much for your insights. That was energy expert Sampson Mamphweli giving us his view on the appointment that we expect to happen of a Minister of Electricity within the presidency and the creation of a state of disaster around electricity.